Hi, my name is Cassie, and I am the CIPA Marketing Chair. And today we have a special treat because we're doing a two-part series with Caitlin Berve of Ignited Ink Writing, and she is the owner, editor, and writer of this company. And I'm excited, Caitlin, because you brought up a really good topic. In essence, so you finished the book. Now what do you do? And we're talking about how to revise that first draft. Again, you finished it. What is the next logical step, Caitlin?
Right. So the first thing I recommend all writers do is take a cooling off period before you start revising. Because usually you're so excited that you finished your book or your story or whatever you're working on that you can't really see what you want to be on the page and what's actually on the page.
Yeah.
So that's what I recommend people do first. And then I recommend you read the whole thing like a writer. And you make 3 notes. And these are just marks on the page. You can use different colors or whatever you want. And the first one is where it's boring or dragging. Because that's going to be where you need to cut stuff.
Okay.
And the next one is where it's too vague or where you need to add something. So this can be places where your dialogue is not as clear as you want it to be, or you don't have any setting, that sort of a thing. And the last mark is what I call the what the heck mark. That's where you mark something that you just like, I don't even know what I was writing right there. So you're going to have to go back and figure that out.
Okay, so you're recommending that we read our own book very first.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Oh, interesting. So don't send it immediately to an editor. Read the book again ourselves.
Right. Yes. So you can clean it up as good as you can before you pay someone, basically. So you want it to be the very best that you can make it, and then either hire an editor or start looking for a publisher.
Wow. Okay. So speaking about book editing then, how many revisions are necessary? Now you said read it yourself before you pay someone, which is great, but how many times do I need to read it? Or is it just the once, or where I'm comfortable? What do you think?
Multiple times. So I would say you're going to do that first read through where you're just kind of looking at what's there and what needs to be there. And then next you'll go through and you'll look at things like your stakes, your plot, and your characters to make sure each of those is clear, present, and working for your story. And then once you have those things as clean and clear as you can get them, that's probably when you're ready to start asking for help from other people.
Okay. Now, I feel that if I keep reading my own book, I'm just going to read it to death and just keep editing it and not give it to someone, not surrender the book for that first round of edits from a professional. So how do you recommend I detach then from the book?
So I would say if you find yourself moving commas, you're definitely at the point where you need a professional. You're not really changing anything.
Okay.
Or if you know there's something that's not quite as good as it could be, but you can't really figure out what that is, or you can't figure out how to fix it, that's when you need help from someone else.
Okay.
And then you definitely need someone to read it before you publish it other than yourself. So when you feel like you're about ready to publish, that's also a good point to ask for outside help.
Oh, really? And that can be so infuriating because you're like, I'm ready. And then you're like, I should have someone else read it.
Yes. Yeah. And I found too, new writers often don't realize how much they are not seeing in their story. And more experienced writers are like, okay, I know these are my weak points. So I know I'm going to have to change this after I go to a professional. And so part of it's experience too. The more you write, the less revisions you'll need because you're paying attention to things earlier on in the writing process.
Ooh, I love that. Some things most certainly come with experience, and writing is not exempt.
Right.
I love it. So there's something I remember when I was writing my book, there was something that I was trying to prevent from happening, which I heard a friend call it a data dump. Where
Oh, yes.
I just And I thought it was so good though. So turns out I had to surrender the book to the editor to find out that maybe that didn't need to be there. So that's what I'm talking about. I feel like we can obsess about the book, and that surrendering point can be hard.
It can be. And sometimes too, you might want to take it to a critique group or a beta reader before an editor.
Ooh. Okay.
Just so you can get either pieces looked at instead of the whole thing. There might be a scene that you're not sure if it's working, and you might take that to a group. So that can be a good starting place too. So it's not the full editor, but still good feedback.
Okay, I love this because the second part of our 5-minute tip is about critique groups. So we're going to talk about that here on the next tip, well, next week really. But I'm going to end this one here.
Okay.
Cliffhanger, and ask you, how can people get a hold of you?
So you can get a hold of me by going to ignitedinkWriting.com. I have a contact page there where you can email me or you can call me. And you can also find me on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube.
Okay, perfect. And at CIPA, of course.
Yes, and at CIPA.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Caitlin. And we will be back with you with another 5-minute tip from Caitlin. Thank you.